Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
I'm doing it, Grayson. I am handing out the award a full week early. Jenny Baranczyk is KREF Recruiter of the Month for the month of March. I don't think it's even really a question.
No.
We didn't get to hand out this award in February because you didn't get any commits of any kind in the month of February. They haven't had any football commits thus far in the month of March, so that just makes it even easier. Jenny Baranczyk, congratulations. For the very first time in your illustrious career as the women's basketball coach at the University of Oklahoma, you are KREF Recruiter of the Month because, well, that's a pretty program-changing victory for Jenny and the gals with the commitment of Aaliyah Chavez today.
I mean, I don't think it's program changing. She built this. She has built the program for this moment. The changing is already done. This is just the result of it. When you talk about the recruit from the undisputed number one women's player in the country, you want to know my thought on this, and I've been thinking about this.
What's that?
Especially over the weekend with the NCAA tournament. Houston, 3 of its 5 starters have always been at Houston. Michigan State, 4 of its 5 starters have always been at Michigan State. All 5 of Purdue starters have been at Purdue. And it clicked when Aaliyah Chavez committed to Oklahoma, completely dispelling the narrative that the lack of NIL or the supposed lack of NIL was going to push her to Texas Tech or to Texas. Here's what this made me think of. Man, if you just build a winner, that'll take care of itself. And I think it's being proven in the sport of basketball. Now, football is going to be its own different animal. But if we isolate this to the sport of basketball, you build a winner and you prove you're a coach. Yes, NIL is going to play a role in it. Yes, you're going to have to pay people commensurate to their value. But if you can prove yourself as a program builder and as a winner and as somebody who can get the most of your players, people will come, regardless if you can offer them the most money or not. This is the kind of move, I think. This is the kind of move that restores faith in college athletics. Because what Jenny Baranczyk has done is she's built now a perennial contender. She's got stars everywhere. They hit it in the portal this year. They've developed people, and now they're going to get somebody that nobody thought they could get because the NIL was assumed to not be there. The old way of college sports is still alive. People still want to be coached. People still wanted to be developed. They just want to get paid commensurate to the value, to the business that is college athletics. And everything came together. And I look at it with Michigan State. I look at it with Purdue. I look at it with Houston. And now the fact that Aaliyah Chavez is here in Norman takes that over the top for me.
And no individual has the ability to single-handedly elevate their team and their program quite like an electric scorer at guard.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the essence of what Aaliyah Chavez is. 36 points per game as a senior in high school, 36.
Bonkers.
Like, for me, you look at their matchup this weekend in the Sweet 16 against UConn, a program that has perennially not only competed for, but won a ton of national titles under Gino Auriemma. Are you taking Oklahoma right now today to beat UConn up in Spokane? Probably not, right?
Not.
Like, is it beyond them? No. But would you favor them? Also, no. A year from now, you subtract Paige Beckers from this UConn team and you add Aaliyah Chavez to Oklahoma. Who's the favorite?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's the favorite.
And I don't think it's close.
No.
Even with AZ Fudd coming back for UConn, like she announced today.
To me, this just put Oklahoma right in the thick of the national title conversation.
No question.
Next year.
No question.
If Aaliyah Chavez is all she's cracked up to be, and obviously you don't want to take that for granted, but you see it. You see it on tape, right? You see the ability. You see the natural scoring prowess, the ability to slash and to shoot from beyond the perimeter with equal aplomb. It's genuinely wild to think that in just 4 years, Jenny Baranczyk has taken a program that, like, look, the latter days of Sherry Cole's tenure, Oklahoma was a competitive basketball program, but they were not a championship basketball program. To take that program in the midst of all of the struggles that have accompanied Jenny and Porter Moser's tenures at Oklahoma, i.e. the NIL struggle, the lack of elite facilities, the lack of an elite venue. Amidst all of that, to take this team to the NCAA tournament 4 straight years, to now advance to the Sweet 16, which is further than they went any of her first 3 years at the helm. They wound up getting bounced in the round of 32 each of those 3 campaigns. But now to land the number 1 player in the country, and like the very clear number 1 player in the country, right? Like it's not even a question in most anyone's mind. It's like, okay, yep, Aaliyah Chavez is next level. It's like when Caleb Williams came out with that 2021 class. There wasn't much debate. Okay, like this is the best dude. This is the dude that if he went and played NFL football today wouldn't be out of his depth. And Aaliyah Chavez is that to this recruiting class across the women's basketball landscape. Man, I'm so impressed with Jenny Baranczyk and everybody involved in that operation out there, because I'll tell you, man, I don't claim to be incredibly well-sourced in the realm of women's basketball or women's basketball recruiting, but, you know, I tapped in over the last couple of days with some people that I trust a lot, especially out in the Panhandle. I happen to have a few good connections out there. They all thought Aaliyah Chavez was going to Texas. They all thought it had been done for a long time, that she was going to be a Longhorn, that the visit to Oklahoma and all of the buzz about Tech was just kind of to drum up suspense, and that she was going to be a Longhorn. I talked to people on the OU side that were like, yeah, we're kind of worried that she might just get up there on the podium and pick Tech, because apparently they've put a ton of money in front of her and her family. So for Oklahoma to be in this conversation is one thing, and that's enough of a credit to Jenny Baranczyk if she's at the very least in the final group with a player like this. But to actually land the player, to sell her on the vision at Oklahoma, to convince her that, hey, it's not just about what we're going to be able to pay you, it's about how we're going to use you and how this is going to best suit your budding, burgeoning career in the sport of basketball. What a job. What a job, Jenny.
I know it's easy for me to say this now. It really is. But this is the God's honest truth. I wasn't as dismissive about Oklahoma's chances.
No.
As a lot of people were to land Aaliyah Chavez. And the reason being is because, look, Vic Schaefer's a hell of a coach at Texas. He has put together a perennially championship contending program over the last half-decade. But Jenny Baranczyk and the way she's got the style that she plays basketball with her team is universally appealing, especially to guards. And you look at the fact that you've got shooters, you've got interior presence, and you've got versatile players that can switch defensively. Somebody like Aaliyah Chavez fits perfectly into that. I think she would have fit perfectly in Texas. That still remains a fact. But if you look at a program like that, Norman is such an athlete friendly, I think just a friendly atmosphere in general to be in. If we're gonna put it 100% too. So there is so much appeal to Norman if you get over the fact that she probably was offered the least amount of money of the final 3.
Drew from Plymouth with an interesting point. For us to miss on Parks, but to do this, whoa. Yeah, Oklahoma had a 5-star recruit right up the road at Norman High School.
Yeah,
Keely Parks.
Keely Parks, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who's a stud.
Yeah, really good player. They don't land the hometown 5-star, but they pull the kid from Lubbock. The number 1 player in the class from Lubbock, Texas. Which, like, if I am involved in the money operation at Texas Tech, I can't fathom how Tech lost this battle. I can't fathom how Tech allowed themselves to lose this battle. Because your whole thing right now, the thing that's propping up the perception of your athletic department is that you have insane money via Double Eagle Energy. How often in any sport are you going to get a very clear-cut number 1 recruit that just so happens to be from right up the road? from your own city, and yet you don't land her?
Can we acknowledge this, too?
Sure.
Maybe some people don't want to go to college in their backyard.
That's also very true. I know I didn't.
I sure as hell didn't either.
That's why I ended up here. Glad I did.
Same.
A 405 listener asked, think they didn't land the Norman girl because of Chavez? I don't know. Look, like I said, I don't spend a whole lot of time in the women's basketball recruiting space, but Keeley Parks picked Kansas, and 2 months later, here is Oklahoma.
I don't think they're correlated one bit.
Yeah, no, I really don't either. Drew from Flymount says, I mean, she's a winner. Tech's women's basketball team is trash. Yeah, but it's also one of those things, right? Because to me, as I look at it, if you didn't have trouble ponying up ridiculous money for a softball pitcher from Topeka, Kansas, by way of Stanford, how'd you not have the money to get this one done? And also, again, with Aaliyah Chavez, she's an electric scorer at the guard position. She's going to win wherever she goes. She might not win a championship wherever she goes, but she's going to win. She individually is too dang good not to.
I mean, yeah. And I just looked at the rankings, by the way, for the Big 12. Texas Tech this year in women's basketball was 4-14 in conference play. And look, players like her want to go win. They want to go win, and they also want to join a program where they're going to be developed. Women's basketball players do not go to the WNBA after 1 year. That is not a thing. I don't even think it's allowed, now that I think about it. So she's going to try to go somewhere where she can be there for multiple years, get better, under a coach with a winning program, and that's what cannot be underscored. She's still going to make money, but she gets to go to a winning program. And I think if you have a coach that can build and market a winning program, there will be times where you get to supersede the money thing, where that supersedes the money thing, if you can sell that. I really do. I really think this was great for all of college athletics that she came to Oklahoma.
Recruiting Boomer on the text line, 405-651-3439, says, we better pony up that money for Jenny. Yeah, this is not a coach that you want going to, back to her alma mater in Iowa or something like that. Yeah, you want to keep Jenny Baranchek around.
But we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Rhett Lashley, Parker. Jenny's built this thing herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Oklahoma was not a dormant program like SMU was in football, but this is her thing. And now Oklahoma has elevated itself on the women's basketball landscape to being a top 15, we'll put it conservatively.
Okay, that's
top
fair.
15, maybe top 10. You wouldn't be off your rocker if you said that. Top 10 women's basketball coaching program. I don't know if there's really any threat of her leaving anytime soon. I really don't.
LaDonna from Lubbock says, Parker, if you had lived in Lubbock the last month through all the haboobs, you'd get it. Listen, I don't love Lubbock, Texas. I don't know many people who do. It is weird that the people who go to college at Texas Tech, I mentioned this yesterday, generally they love Lubbock, Texas. I have an unhealthy level of attachment to Lubbock, Texas. However, I did not go to college at Texas Tech University, nor did any of you. So I doubt we have proper context for the attachment that attending college at Texas Tech University creates. Porter's Nemesis on the text line says, ever since the OU football account started posting John Mateer highlights, all of OU athletics have started to tick upwards. Coincidence? I think not. There you go, Grayson. John Mateer is the secret sauce. John Mateer is the one elevating OU athletics.
I mean, look, football certainly drives interest in a university. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. Now, do I think John Mateer highlights had anything to do with this?
Hey, don't bring your facts in the way of my narrative, okay?
I'll let your narrative thrive.
Thank you. Thank you. Yukon Bob says, seems there is a donor that is in Jenny's corner, donates to what she wants and nothing else. The name is listed on OU. Yeah, Susie Glazer Burt is the lady's name. I guess she gave $5 million to the women's basketball program when Jenny was at Drake. So, I don't know how much she was involved in the Aaliyah Chavez pursuit, if at all. But kind of nice to have a big-time donor on speed dial that'll just give you money, if that is indeed the dynamic between Jenny Baranczyk and Susie Glazer-Burt.
Sooner Cowboys, which is an oxymoron, on the YouTube chat. All the women's sports doing better than the men's at OU right now.
That's pretty true, isn't it?
It is. Gymnastics, softball.
Women's Sports U. That's the University of Oklahoma. Hey, keep
one.
hitting us up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439, 651-3439. Virtual remote today for Daylight Bail Bonds. Arrested? Don't panic. Daylight Bail Bonds is here to help. Fast, reliable, and available 24/7 to get you or your loved one home quickly. Serving Oklahoma since 2012, they provide flexible payment options and experienced, compassionate agents who understands life's unexpected turns, I should say. We strive to make the bail process simple and stress-free. So if you or your loved ones are looking for a bail agency that takes pride in its commitment to clients during and after the bond is written, look no further than Daylight Bail Bonds, 580-768-1506 or daylightbailbonds.com. More to come as we discuss another major commitment that's coming down the pike tomorrow here in the state of Oklahoma. Keep it here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Hey Sooner fans, this is Lexi Keys, and you're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Ever wonder why someone would leave the roads they know for places they don't? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Hey, Sooner fans, we've got you covered. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No, we don't get a break. This is the home of Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Are you looking to elevate your golf game in 2025? Westwood Golf Course in Norman can help. Now's the time to get your annual memberships, and they're open 7 days a week. The 50th Annual Westwood Invitational is July 4th, 5th, and 6th, so be sure to register early this year. Play after 2 p.m. for just $28 or after 5 p.m. for just $23. You can always book your tee time at westwoodparkgolf.com, and don't forget to visit the Turn Grill inside Westwood, one of the local gyms in Norman.
Life runs on connection, powering your home, your work, and your world. At OEC and OEC Fiber, we keep the lights on with reliable electric service, and we keep you connected with fast, affordable internet. As a cooperative, we're more than a provider. We're your neighbors, committed to serving you with unmatched, dedicated service. Because at OEC, you're not just a customer, you're a valued member. Learn more at okcoop.org or oecfiber.com.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south of Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as Yukon, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
Entrepreneurs and more, Norman and South Oklahoma City have an experienced business business partner in their neighborhood. Moore Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, Moore Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about Moore Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
Shout out to loyal KREF listener Patrick on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, who informed us that he is at a Rosas Cafe in Lubbock, Texas, as of right now. He may have dropped the final bag in the Aaliyah Chavez recruitment, working to confirm. Great work, Patrick. Great work as always. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. The show brought to you today and every day by Dorsey Jones Buick GMC, family-owned and operated out in El Reno, America. They pride themselves on having the best service technicians and friendly service advisors that put your needs first. Selling Buicks and GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. Low-pressure environment, knowledgeable sales staff. Again, great service advisors with half-price oil changes on Saturdays. If you have not yet been out to Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno, make that trek. It'll do you some good. Again, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Brian in Bixby says, man, the momentum in OU athletics has turned 180 in the last 6 weeks. It's kind of a little bit of an arbitrary time frame there. But it does definitely feel like OU athletics has momentum again. Softball season starting up certainly helps with that. Landing the #1 women's basketball recruit in the country certainly helps with that. Landing the most coveted quarterback in the transfer portal as well as his offensive coordinator, that certainly helps as well. So, yeah, man, feels like there are brighter days ahead for OU athletics across the board. Ultimately, none of you people are going to be completely happy and or satisfied unless the football team starts to win this upcoming season. So we're going to have to wait on that. But for the moment, man, women's basketball in the Sweet 16, biggest commitment maybe in the history of the program, at least in recent memory, last decade and a half. Just becoming official as of today with the addition of Aaliyah Chavez. Softball's 29-1, still on top of the sport. Yep, that'll work. An 806 listener says, on a related note, the only thing Lubbock has on the Norman area is a daggum Rosas. Yeah, listen, we need to get a Rosas up in the Norman area. That needs to happen
there
pronto.
isn't one.
Yeah. You got to drive south across the border into Texas before you run into a Rosas. It's probably a good thing that there isn't a Rosas in the Norman area, because if so, I would lose a lot of money and probably gain a lot of weight. But Rosas Cafe, yes. That's where it's at.
Keep lifting weights. You might gain some good weight.
That's true. That's true. I have to. Florida Sooner says, when talking about the direction of Oklahoma sports, you have to include the Jim Nagy hire. Yes, lest I forget, Oklahoma did hire a highly qualified new general manager in Jim Nagy. Drew from Flower Mound adds, OU baseball playing good too. Ain't that the truth? Skip Johnson. Reformed Sumer says, Courtney Parris will probably always be the top recruit in women's basketball. That may be true, but let's see what Aaliyah Chavez can offer, man. Again, if she's all she's cracked up to be, she's the type of player that can put Oklahoma in the championship conversations. Porter's Nemesis asks, so Chavez doesn't like tortillas and batteries? No, apparently not. At least not enough to stick around. Grayson, we have another big-time announcement coming tomorrow, this one on the football side. And that is the pending announcement from 4-star running back Caden Jones out of Jenks, Oklahoma. Of course, a legacy, the son of Kewan Jones, Makes all the sense in the world that he's going to be a Sooner tomorrow, right? Yeah, I'm not there. I don't think it's going to be Oklahoma tomorrow for Caden Jones.
You gonna tell us where you think it's going to be, or?
Well, that's the thing, man. Like,
I mean, you're Mr. Futurecast here.
If you made me put money down, I'm probably putting it on Oklahoma State. But Louisville's still involved. Kansas is still involved. He was just at Vanderbilt last week. And who knows, right? There's a lot of runway left in this recruitment up until signing day. Oklahoma, I don't know if it'll come to fruition or not, depending on what happens tomorrow, but they had him scheduled for an official visit at the Champ U Barbecue. So the interesting aspect of this whole conversation surrounding Caden Jones' decision is if it indeed isn't Oklahoma for him tomorrow, as I do not expect that it will be, where does Oklahoma turn at the running back position? Because they're going to need to take two. They will need to take two. That is simply a fact. You're probably going to lose at least one running back, if not multiple, at the end of the spring to the transfer portal. Javonte Barnes is out of eligibility at season's end, as is Sam Franklin if he's still around. So you need to take two running backs. The only one that Oklahoma has been mentioned for in any substantial capacity outside of Caden Jones, who again commits tomorrow, probably not to Oklahoma, and Jonathan Hatton, who committed Saturday to Texas A&M, choosing the Aggies over the Sooners. The only other guy that they're in the mix for is Rylan Morris, who's committed to Baylor, mind you. Honey Grove, Texas. And yeah, you'd like to think Oklahoma's going to have what it takes to flip the kid from Baylor, but you can't assume that's a certainty. It's a really interesting predicament that DeMarco Murray and Oklahoma are in when the only running back seemingly on the board in a realistic sense right now in the 2026 class is a guy that's committed somewhere else.
I mean, it moves the impetus to flipping Rylan Morris. You have to do that. Otherwise, you're looking at what are you looking at, Parker? A couple 3-star, which by the way, 3-star running backs are just fine. I mean, one just won the Doak Walker Award a couple of years ago. Ollie Gordon was a 3-star. So it's not like, oh, we're gonna get a 3-star. The sky's falling. That's not where you are. But it does put you between a rock and a hard place. If you're talking about, especially when you're talking about taking two, especially as we've already moved into the cycle, and as you articulated in the first hour with Steely today, you're starting to see commitments start to ramp up once we get to the month of April, and the gears start to turn on that regard. So, no, Oklahoma's in a very interesting spot after missing out on Jonathan Hatton, presumably going to be missing out on Caden Jones. It is imperative now that you flip Rylan Morris just for starters, because otherwise, if you go 0 for 3, which is the doomsday scenario that we brought up a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't really think it was going to come to fruition, but boy, is it looking like a possibility now. Where do you turn? And that's going to be a very arduous task for DeMarco Murray and the offensive staff to pull off.
We have some precedent for DeMarco Murray having to move further down his board in the midst of a given recruiting cycle. It happened in the 2023 cycle. The guys that DeMarco Murray landed in the 2023 class...
Were one of them Gavin Sawchuk?
No, Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes were members of the 2022 class, which was an excellent one. Excellent one for DeMarco Murray, obviously. 2023? The two running backs that he signed in that class were Caleb Hicks and Dalen Smothers.
Oh, dear.
Yup. Neither of those guys are still around.
Nope.
Caleb Hicks is an Oklahoma State Cowboy. Dalen Smothers, who now goes by Hollywood, is at North Carolina State. So, man, both those guys could have done something at Oklahoma long-term if they had stuck around, but they didn't. And so, like, the precedent that we do have suggests that going down the board at running back, probably not the path you want to travel if you can avoid it. Because also, you see far less late risers at running back than you do at other positions, right, Grace?
Very true. Very true.
The guys the positions where you see late risers are you'll see them at quarterback. You'll typically see them at offensive line and edge. Those are probably the two most frequent. You'll see an offensive lineman, especially one of those guys that's relatively new to the sport, doesn't have a ton of tape. You know, they go test really well at some camps and put a strong first 4 games on tape for their senior year, and then they blow up, right? I can recall last cycle Georgia flipping a kid that had been committed to Georgia State in like August or September just because they finally got eyes on this kid and realized, oh, shoot, he's a lot better than his offer sheet. And so it happens on the offensive line, certainly happens at edge. Oklahoma has taken late risers at edge in the past. Taylor Wine comes to mind in the 2023 cycle. And so those are the positions. Wide receiver could also be thrown into that discussion where you almost expect that when September and October roll around, you're going to have more guys that are on your radar as a P4 institution. Running back, that's not really the case. No, like the dudes are the dudes at running back. The dudes are the dudes. The guys that are on the radar early are the guys that stay on the radar. Generally, nobody is playing their way into P4 consideration at the running back position as a senior. So, what's out there? Especially locally, man. Like, what is out there locally that Oklahoma could tap into, whether or not they land Rylan Morris? Because they're going to need another one, any way you slice it. I don't know what DeMarco Murray's going to do. I mean, did they maybe just say, let's take a look at the JUCO ranks, maybe? Let's just wait for the portal? That's always a recourse if all else fails. But you don't want to be leaning on the portal. And again, if you go to the portal at the running back position, what are you going to find? Not a whole lot of true difference makers.
I mean, quite frankly, at the running back position, a lot of portal players are damn near castaways. Or players that weren't even going to be in the top 3 in the depth chart at their previous institution.
Who are the portal running backs that Oklahoma has taken in DeMarco Murray's tenure on staff? Eric Gray is one.
Okay, that one worked out.
That worked out. The other one is Sam Franklin.
I feel like the trend in this show is 180s.
405 listener says converting linebackers.
Oh, no. Are we talking about Jaron Kanik again?
Oh, no. Yeah, forget that. A 405 listener brought up Kenny Golston down in Valiant, Oklahoma. I think he's more of a linebacker than a running back at the next level, but I guess maybe. Like, he's been really productive in small school Oklahoma. So maybe, but again, man, the pickings start to get really, really slim if you don't hit on some of your top targets and you don't have a big board as it is, which Oklahoma has never really had in the 2026 cycle because they haven't had to. They had Jonathan Hatton committed for the longest time, and so the calculus was, okay, we just need one more. Got Caden Jones right up the road. That makes a ton of sense. Probably don't need to go start developing relationships with a ton of other running backs if we already have one commit and we have another guy in state that's a legacy that we got a pretty good idea is going to wind up here. Well, lo and behold, here we are. Jonathan Hatton is an Aggie. I don't know what Caden Jones is tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be a Sooner. So you're back to square one.
And what amount of culpability does this put when you bring up the relationship part? I think that's a very astute point because what level of culpability do you put in all of this on DeMarco Murray? And before I get to that, by the way, we have our weekly I didn't know Grayson was black text on the on the YouTube chat. Sailor Boy, Grayson's voice doesn't match his face. Cool. Thank you. Heard that since I was 10. Anyway, but when it comes to DeMarco Murray here, we talked about it ad nauseum. His running back rotation last year was haphazard, to say the least. It was weird. Nobody could get a rhythm. You think you think the coaches, the parents of these running back recruits don't take notice of that? I mean, Caden Jones' dad was a football player. He can recognize that. Mm-hmm. You think that doesn't have anything to do with why you went 0 for 2 with Jonathan Hatton and Caden Jones? I think not. So I think DeMarco Murray himself, who I think could be a decent running back coach, he has some culpability in this as well.
Virtual remote today, folks, for Daylight Bail Bonds. Call Daylight Bail Bonds now at 580-768-1506 or visit at daylightbailbonds.com. When things seem the darkest, let Daylight Bail Bonds help you or a loved one see daylight today. Felonies, misdemeanors, tribal bonds, even out-of-state residents at Daylight Bail Bonds. Your freedom is their priority, and they'll be with you every step of the way throughout the judicial process. Recruiting Boomer on the text line says, Grayson is the GOAT! CD from Hockley asks, is it DeMarco or Nagy? Didn't Nagy pull the plug on Hatton? And again, that right there is part of the new reality for Oklahoma when it comes to evaluating and scouting and obtaining running back talent. It's, okay, we're not going to pay big bucks for these dudes. You think that doesn't have something to do with why Caden Jones probably isn't picking Oklahoma tomorrow?
And I'll tell you what, if you judge by his social media too, he kind of, and I don't know the kid, I've called one game that he played in. He kind of has the personality of a guy who's gonna want some coin, just based off his social media. He seems like a guy that will use football to make himself potentially into an internet celebrity, which, by the way, is not a bad thing.
No, shoot, there's a lot of money in being an internet celebrity these days.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad gig.
I mean, there's players in Oklahoma that have tens of thousands of TikTok followers.
A 405 listener says, I think we are going to start missing out on running backs like crazy. Murray has a terrible rotation. The best guy last year didn't see the field till late in the year. I promise you, there was nobody in that building that could have counted on Xavier Robinson being as good down the stretch as he was for Oklahoma. You see him pop off against Alabama, you're thinking, where has this guy been all year? Like, we're all sitting there thinking that. But again, with how much money DeMarco Murray gets paid and just the reality, the guy wouldn't be in the coaching profession if not for his desire to help out his alma mater. He's playing the guy that he thinks is best. Was he wrong in that case? Yeah, okay, it certainly looks like it. You can make a case. Yeah, he misjudged his running back room. That is what it is.
And by the way, how much of a necessity now does the emergence of Xavier Robinson loom?
Yeah, no joke. He'll be relied upon much more heavily this fall, folks, especially now that they've seen, okay, this guy is a lot more of a player than even we realized. You'll see a healthy dose of Xavier Robinson. The sins of yesteryear will not be duplicated. Count on that. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. When we return, more of your texts, more OU football and Crootin talk. If you missed it, Jenny Baranczyk is your March KREF Recruiter of the Year, brought to you by Right Way Insurance. Congrats to Coach Baranczyk and the squad landing the #1 player in the nation, Aaliyah Chavez, today over Texas and Texas Tech. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be right back.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is the Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south to Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as Yukon, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
That twinge in your knee isn't going to wait until Monday, and neither do we. At Orthostat, we've expanded, so you get better hours, better facilities, and the same great care. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Whether it's sprains, strains, fractures, or joint pain, from knuckles to knees and every joint in between, our same-day, affordable care gets you back to life faster. Visit ouchorthostat.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tina Floyd, your Norman School Board President. I'm running to continue representing our students because I believe that every child deserves a quality education and a bright future. As a mother of Norman Public School graduates, I know we need strong leadership to prioritize students so that all students can succeed. I'd be honored to earn your vote on April 1st. Visit floydfornorman.com to learn more.
Paid for and authorized by Tina Floyd for Norman School Board.
There's strength in family, and there's strength in partnership. Hi, I'm Lainey Phillips with Armstrong Bank, where we believe in building financial stability and enduring relationships. As a family-owned community bank since 1909, we'll always be here to support you, because we know that true strength is in our communities. Armstrong Bank. Strength runs in our family. Visit armstrong.bank. Member FDIC.
The deals are madness this March across Eskridge Honda's full inventory. Shop 2 great deals on Honda's most popular 2025 SUVs. Pay just $249 a month for an HR-V LX front-wheel drive or $289 per month for a CR-V EX front-wheel drive. And for every vehicle purchase in March, we'll donate $100 to Toby Keith's OK Kids Corral. That's 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com.
HR-V front-wheel drive $2.99 for 36 months. CR-V front-wheel drive $1.99 for 36 months. Per year 10,000-mile lease, $500 down plus TTNL and first month's payment through AHF ends 4/125.
Do you love sports and looking for a way to stay active? What's up? It's Grayson Singleton, and the fastest growing sport in America has a new home here in Norman. Hey Pickle Pickle is now open with 5 state-of-the-art indoor courts. Hey Pickle Pickle is perfect for you regardless of your level of experience. With food to keep you fueled up while you play, you can also book your courts online today at heypicklefun.com or visit them in person, located just west of Hayday off of Indian Hills in Norman. Hey Pickle Pickle is open each day, 7 days a week at 9 a.m., where fun meets fitness.
Are you, your family, or company looking for a locally owned and trusted management group? Carlsbad Management Group is an owner, developer, and manager of high-quality apartment communities in Oklahoma. They are a locally owned and operated management company for apartments and self-storage units. They are committed to providing exceptional apartment homes, customer service, and increasing the value of multi-family communities under our management. If you would like a free management quote today, call Carlsbad Management at 405-701-1411 and be part of the Carlsbad family.
It's locked in here on the Ref. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton with you. The show brought to you by Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. Tommy on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line with regard to Caden Jones says, I mean, rumor has it that one of the schools, not OU, is slapping down $2 million for Caden Jones. Okay, that's just unequivocally not true. No one is paying $2 million for Caden Jones or any other running back in America. That is many times what an absolute top-of-the-line running back is worth right now in college football. I mean, that would reset the market to the nth degree. That's not happening. $2 million? No. Now, there are programs that are willing to fork over a good deal of money to get Caden Jones in the fold. He's an electric talent. It doesn't feel like, doesn't sound like, from everything I've heard, from everything I've been told, that Oklahoma is going to be the school that pays the most for Caden Jones. And Peyton said, I think there's a better chance to flip Caden than you're giving us. Look, long term, yes, I would concur that there is very much a chance Oklahoma and Caden Jones rekindle things or stay in contact and there is movement later this summer, maybe in the fall. I don't think it's the end of the line necessarily once Caden Jones commits tomorrow to a school that I don't expect to be Oklahoma. But when he sits on that podium tomorrow, I don't believe that Oklahoma is going to be the school he chooses. So you got to play the long game with a kid like that.
Which is such a strange thing to say. It's
Isn't
like,
it?
oh, we're going to keep in contact with him as if we're going to keep recruiting him through seasons. Good Lord. I mean, that's – you talk about an absence of regulation. That's what that is right there.
What do you mean?
I mean, just continuing – I know players talk, but you're talking about rekindling a relationship, somebody you can stay in contact with. When you use that kind of verbiage, I'm thinking, okay, DeMarco's just staying in touch, you know, maybe check in a September, a couple times in October, maybe a November. It's like, dude, you're playing a season. I know in practice, they'll probably circle back around once the portal opens again. But just the way we talk about it and have that conversation is so strange to me. Here was my question to you, Parker, when we started talking about the rumors of $2 million, whichever, which, again, by the way, is absurd for a running back, not to mention one that's never played a down of college football. When do you think we get to the point like the NFL where it's announced what these contracts are? And do you think we ever get to that point?
No, I don't think we ever get to that point.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, because we're still dealing with college kids, right? And so, maybe, I guess, but I wouldn't count on it. Because, look.
Let me pitch this to you, though. Before you finish your answer, let me pitch this to you.
Okay.
You can go on the state websites, and you can find what the coaches are making, because coaches are state employees. What if one day we just determine that college athletes are employees of their university, which in turn makes them employees of the state? Then it's a matter of public record.
Correct, it is. But that would only display the amount of money that they're being paid directly by the institution, right? As opposed to external contributors.
Which, by the way, is probably what we're more interested in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really cares about what you're making in endorsements.
Somebody that I want to ask, what do you think Adrian Peterson's NIL value would be? That's a 7-figure running back. If NIL was a thing in 2004, yeah, that's easily a 7-figure running back.
I'll do you one better. Reggie Bush.
Oh, my goodness. Might be a $5 million running back.
Mm-hmm.
Reformed Homer says, send Jenny to close out KD Jones's recruitment. Yeah, she's on a heater right now.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well. Glenn from Nashville says, I'd like to see our running backs run a little bit harder and not be ankle tackled as much. That said, the running backs we have are fully capable of going off if they have a complementary passing attack. The fact that we could not complete a pass farther than 20 yards downfield last year on a consistent basis greatly hurt our running game. Amen to that, Glenn.
Sure.
You have to be able to establish offensive balance if you're going to have success at any one thing, let alone both things, the run and the pass. Because nobody took Oklahoma seriously as a passing threat last season. Why would you? They're rolling out their 6th, 7th, 8th wide receivers in the starting lineup, mind you. It's a patchwork offensive line. There was just no hope. There was no hope whatsoever that Oklahoma was going to be able to establish a consistent rushing attack. We saw it for one game, the Alabama game. And I guess Maine, if you want to count that.
I don't.
But what happened in the Alabama game, I will never fully understand. There was some magic in the air that night that the Sooners benefited from. Outside of that, no team would take Oklahoma seriously for their ground threat because it had become well established at a certain point that the Sooners could not push the ball downfield in the passing game. They were thoroughly one-dimensional. And when you're dealing with a one-dimensional offense, all you have to do is stop their one dimension. Yes. Elsewhere on the text line, the realist says, if Tatum could hang on to the ball, we would not be worrying about missing out on a running back. Ain't that the truth? That's the only thing that's holding the kid back at this point. I mean, you saw last year how much potential there is. You saw him flash the skills that made him the #1 running back in the entire 2024 recruiting cycle. You saw him flash as a true freshman, but the other thing you saw was a ton of ball security issues to the point where you almost expected it.
Mm-hmm.
Week in, week out, Taylor Tatum's back on the field. Hope he doesn't fumble. He fumbled. There you go.
We keep citing the Alabama game. Taylor Tatum got off to a very good start in the Alabama game.
Did he fumble in that one? I can't recall.
Yeah, I think he fumbled on a second carry. But I think he had a double-digit carry in that when it was looking good, and then
first carry is really nice, and then second carry, he gave it away.
Here we go again. A texter in the 918. When did Cowboy Willie start? When did Cowboy Willie and Parker switch bodies? What else did the aliens do to y'all? I guess we sound alike, Parker.
Was I spreading Oklahoma State propaganda? Was my loosely defined prediction that Caden Jones picks Oklahoma State tomorrow, is that making me sound like a poke? My apologies. A 918 listener asks, anyone here how Jackson Arnold is doing at Auburn? Will he win the start? Yeah, he's going to start there. He's going to start. As to how he's doing, shoot, I don't know. I don't got many friends on the Auburn beat. I got a couple. Check in with them. See how things are going down there. But the one thing you hope is that Jackson Arnold doesn't come to Norman, Oklahoma on September 20th and win. That will be a very bad look all the way around. Jackson Arnold comes back to Norman as an Auburn Tiger and beats the Sooners in their SEC opener. Because that's also going to be really the first, Oklahoma has to play Michigan, so maybe it's not going to be the first true challenge, but I feel like that's the day where we're going to learn what Oklahoma is made of. Because it's going to be their very first taste of SEC competition. It is the opener of the conference schedule. And it just so happens to be against Jackson Arnold. Sooner Bump says, I can explain the Bama game. Jenny B was there.
Was she really?
Well, there you go. Makes all the sense in the world now, doesn't it? Jenny B is Queen Midas. An 806 listener adds, I was just thinking the same thing. If Tatum can get over the dropsies, there's a very real chance he's special. I don't think there's a chance. I think he is special. The reason he doesn't necessarily look special from a productive standpoint or from an impact standpoint when you rewind to his true freshman year is because he was fumbling so often. If you subtract the fumbles, there's a decent chance Taylor Tatum by midseason is RB1. You remember how enamored we all were with Taylor Tatum after non-conference play?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he had fumbled yet at that point. Maybe once. The Tennessee game, he gets knocked woozy and fumbles. I don't think he lost the fumble, but had to sit out the rest of that game with a concussion. I believe he missed the following game against Auburn. And then from there, you were playing with fire every single time you sent Taylor Tatum onto the field because there was an equal chance he'd break off a big run and also fumble.
A texter in the 580, Jackson Arnold beating us fits right into the BV storyline thus far. However, I hope we beat him to a pulp.
Well, it doesn't every Sooner fan. 405 listener asks, remember Keith Ford had that issue and ended up leaving? I do remember Keith Ford. There's a fun little dose of trivia for you. If my memory serves me correctly, Keith Ford drew the start at running back for Oklahoma in Samaje Perine's 427 game. I think it was Keith Ford. It was either Keith Ford or Alex Ross because it wasn't Samaje Perine. Would have had to have been either Keith Ford or Alex Ross. Patrick says, they're big upset in Lubbock about Chavez going to Oklahoma. It's hilarious. Man, we have 2 more minutes of this show. I'm going straight to the Texas Tech message boards after we get off the air.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see how this is going over. Who do you think they hate more? They have to hate Texas more, right? There are probably quite a few Sand Aggies who are more thinking, well, at least she didn't go to Texas.
I don't know if Texas Tech, and this is my honest opinion, I don't know if Texas Tech hates anybody. They kind of just seem like their own thing. I mean, they got to do battle with their own STD before they hate any other collegiate institution.
What?
Raider rash? Have you never heard of this?
No, I've heard of it. I didn't realize that's where you were going there. Ugh.
Why did you just cringe like that?
How could I not?
Do they really hate Patrick? Do they really hate Texas that much? I didn't know that.
Well, everyone hates Texas.
Well, I mean, okay, fair. I'm talking about outside of the norm.
They hate me on the Texas Tech message boards because I tweeted about a battery whizzing past my head during the 2022 game, and I instantly got my replies flooded by people with little cactus emojis in their bios. It's like, we don't throw batteries. You're an idiot. Provide photographic or videographic evidence. Otherwise, shut up. There are no batteries that get thrown. I'm like, really?
To your defense, there's who's going to make up the story of people hurling batteries
They
at
still,
them?
to this day, believe that I made it up. To this day. It is every single time I post a story that's at all relevant to Texas Tech, like as a recruit that's considering OU and Tech, and it gets reposted on their board.
Yeah.
They're talking about, it's that guy who lied about the battery getting thrown his way.
Patrick on the text line, they think everyone in Oklahoma has TPs and a horse, and I kid you not on that. Yeah. That's wild.
Oh, and I forgot Chris Beard left Texas Tech for Texas.
Oh, that's true.
That probably
I forgot
exacerbates
about that one.
Hey, folks, thanks for coming along for the ride with us today here on Locked In. I'm sure Tyler and Ted coming up in the rush are going to talk a lot more about Aaliyah Chavez's commitment, what it means for Oklahoma going forward. We're going to see you tomorrow, or rather, you will hear us tomorrow. We'll see you on the YouTube side, I guess. Same time, same place. Another edition of Locked In kicks off at 2 p.m. right here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll see you tomorrow.